Hey YouTube, so this is a transmission out of my Traxxas Tmaxx. It's about 7 years old. I put it up about 3 years ago. It had stopped running. The motor would rev real high, but it wouldn't go. It just kind of jerked forward and backward. So it's been 3 years or so, and I decided to take it apart and get it back on the road and whatnot. And I'll show you what I found was wrong with it. You go and remove the 8 screws from the body and a couple of linkages and whatnot, and the thing falls right out. Remove the 7 screws on the outside here. And the whole thing pretty much comes apart. Anyway, I've got the solid metal drive wheel here, and that drives these gears in here. You got 2 different size gears. You got the smaller one and the larger one. And if you know anything about the gear ratios, small gear drive large gear here. You got lower speed but higher torque, and then a little bit larger gear driving a smaller gear, you get the high speed, less torque. So these 2 gears are driving constantly in here, and this one gear has a one-way clutch in it. So they're both kind of driving all the time, and then once it gets to a fast enough speed and a high enough RPM, this second gear, high speed gear, kicks in. There's a little weight inside here that once it gets spinning fast enough, it catches onto this gear and drives it, which will spin a little bit faster than this larger gear here. So that's why you have the one-way clutch in this one gear here. So, and I'll show you that in a second. But anyway, I'll show you what I found was wrong with this thing. It turned out that the Allen set screw in here, the shaft had busted off. So I found that pin inside the housing here, and here's the old one here. But that's an Allen set screw, and it should have a shaft going all the way out the side. But it was broken, and I'll show you how these high-speed gear and low-speed gear work. But here's this new Allen set screw came with these 2 new gears, $7. So no big deal. I'd rather pay just $1 for the one pin, but I replaced both the gears also. But anyway, this guy spins on here, spinning the whole shaft. We'll take these guys off here. It just kind of meshes together. There's a washer that goes there on this one guy here. Put that there. But this guy, this gear here, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the hole right there. And this got a one-way clutch on this guy that holds onto the shaft. And your one-way clutches, they've got needle bearings in there. I don't know if you can see it, but if this thing spins back and forth and doesn't go only one way, I know this thing says don't put any oil in it and whatnot, but you can put a little bit of oil on a Q-tip and clean out these needle bearings that are in there, and that'll get it rolling around in there, clean out the excess oil out of that, and that'll clear up your one-way gear 99% of the time. It should work again. Here's your high-speed gear. Like I said, once this thing gets spinning fast enough, there's a weight in there that's driven by a centrifugal force. Once it gets spinning fast enough, that bad boy pops out, and catches inside of here. There's some pins in here that it'll catch, and then it'll start spinning this gear here. You'll see on Traxxas's website the high-speed adjustment shift point. They tell you to look through the housing, find the hole there, and bring this around. The first hole is the set screw that attaches it to the shaft. the second hole you'll see coming around in the hole here will be the set screw. You screw it in tighter to make that weight come out at a lower RPM, and it'll shift at a lower speed and into your high speed gear. Loosen it up a little bit counterclockwise, and it'll shift at a higher RPM, engine RPM. So that's how your 2-speed transmission works. Pretty smart. Interesting design, very simple, yet effective. So we'll put this guy back together. Put your washer on there. And that's what I found was wrong with my transmission, was this set pin was broken, and these gears were just spinning on the shaft. So there's a larger size hole and a smaller size hole there that the pin goes into, and this side here is threaded. I'm going to find that hole again, line it up, and put that pin back in. But that was what was wrong with my transmission, why it was slipping. It'd rev real high, but it wouldn't go anywhere. Put that back in. And like I said, your high speed adjustments in there. Your forward and reverse is kind of interesting. It just moves this hub here in and out onto that gear, or the gear that's inside there. This gear here and this gear here mesh up. So once you reach a high enough speed, it's always driving this guy, but with it in forward, the yoke forward there, once this gear gets to a high enough speed, it's got a weight in there that comes out via centrifugal force also. Yeah, there's a little spacer on there, don't lose that. But once it spins high enough, you got another weight on there that spins and comes out and goes into this hub here, and it catches on those pins in there. So once it's spinning, boom, it catches, everybody spins at the same time. Same with this is the same type of gear inside there with the weight. When this thing slides back, you see the key there, and it goes on the shaft. Once it starts, one of these guys starts spinning fast enough and the weight comes out and it's in the forward position, it goes forward. When it's in the reverse position, that's why you got to let the engine slow down a little bit before it'll go into reverse, and you start spinning it up again, and it catches on here, and it'll drive these gears here. It will make it spin in the opposite direction, even though everybody's spinning in one direction, and it'll drive this forward with the extra gear in there, and it's spinning in that direction. That one goes and it spins in reverse. So kind of ingenious how your forward and reverse works, how your high speed, your low speed, and your high speed gear works. Simple, but good engineering, well thought out. But anyway, that was what was wrong with mine, was this pin was busted off the shaft. So we'll put this back together. Your yoke goes in that groove there, your forward and reverse selecting yoke. Line that up into the hole over there, wherever it is, there it is. And then this shaft lines up on this hub here, see? And that's keyed, so this hub actually does the driving. I kind of set this guy just in there, but out of the way a little bit, so everybody lift that up a little bit, so everybody kind of fits right like about that. I'll leave it out a little bit. Kind of flopped over like that. Drop that guy in here. Go like that. Everybody meshing in together. Don't forget your spacer and your forward reverse selector. This guy goes back here. That little C-clip goes on the back side of these gears. That shaft goes in the hole. This shaft goes in that hole. This shaft goes in this hole. So really simple, but well engineered, well designed, very effective, pretty bulletproof. If you open this up and you see any of the other gears hosed up in there, just replace those gears and you should be good to go. You got your, like I said, your adjustment there, and pretty simple, but very smart, ingenious, well designed, well engineered. So, well, that should do it. I'll post a video later on whether or not this worked, and you'll see it in action. So, pretty simple, yet ingenious design for this Traxxas Tmaxx 2.5 transmission. Hope you enjoyed, and catch you later. Peace.